All right, imagine this. You walk into a shop just to have a look, and 5 minutes later, you are holding a limited edition glow in the dark banana holder shaped like a velociraptor. Why? Because your brain screamed, yes, this is who we are now. Welcome to the wild, twitchy rodeo of how your brain reacts to spending versus saving. One side of your brain is a confetti-blasting party animal wearing a jetpack. The other side is a clipboard-holding librarian who sighs every time you breathe near an online shopping cart. And between them, chaos. Delicious, expensive chaos. So here is what is going on upstairs in that gray noodle of yours. When you spend money, especially impulsively, your brain hits the dopamine button like it is trying to win a jackpot. Dopamine is the chemical that goes, ooh, exciting, that was fun, do it again. And it does not even care what you bought. It could be concert tickets, a new phone, or a novelty mug shaped like your neighbor Greg. If the purchase feels good, dopamine shows up with party hats. Your brain lights up like a Christmas tree, especially in the nucleus accumbens, which is basically your pleasure HQ. So spending money, especially on stuff you want right now, is like brain candy. That is why retail therapy is a thing. Your brain literally feels better when you buy things. Now, saving money, on the other hand, does not get the dopamine fireworks. Instead, it taps into your prefrontal cortex, the very serious, no-nonsense region of your brain that is responsible for planning long-term goals and not eating 4 donuts in one sitting. Saving is future-focused. It is about resisting temptation, delaying gratification, and being a responsible human being, which, let us face it, is not nearly as sexy as instant gratification. It is the broccoli of financial decisions. It is good for you. It helps you live longer. But nobody is making TikToks about that amazing feeling of not buying a PS5 today. But here's where it gets interesting. When you do save consistently and see your savings grow, your brain eventually starts to enjoy it. The reward system shifts. You start associating saving with security, freedom, and even pride. Like, look at me. Adulting so hard, my piggy bank just filed taxes. Studies show that people who watch their savings increase get a smaller but more stable dopamine boost, the kind that builds over time. It is a bit like composting. It is not flashy, it kind of smells at first, but eventually you get a garden, or at least fewer financial meltdowns. Now let us talk about spending triggers, because, oh boy, your brain is basically surrounded by landmines disguised as sales. When you see the words limited time offer, your brain's amygdala, the part that processes fear and urgency, starts yelling, if you do not buy this now, you will regret it forever and probably die alone. Combine that with a bit of FOMO, some colorful marketing, and boom, you are buying 10 pairs of sunglasses even though you live in Belfast where the sun appears twice a year. And do not even get me started on credit cards. Paying with cash? That physically hurts. Literally. Neuroscientists found that the brain reacts to handing over cash the same way it reacts to physical pain. But swiping a card or clicking buy now online, that is like eating cake with 0 calories. You do not feel it in the moment, so your brain goes, well, that did not hurt, let us do it again. It is like financial anesthesia, until the bill comes. Then it is less dopamine, more screaming. But the brain is not your enemy here. It just needs better training. You can hack your brain into liking saving. Here is how. First, make saving feel rewarding. Set mini goals and treat your brain to little dopamine hits every time you hit one. Saved $50 this week? Do a dance. Save $300? Maybe allow a small treat like a fancy coffee or a slightly ridiculous sticker that says Financial Warrior. This builds a habit loop. Cue, routine, reward. The more you reward the act of saving, the more your brain links it to pleasure instead of punishment. Second, visualize your savings goal, not just numbers in a bank. Picture the actual thing. Is it a holiday to Greece? A new laptop? That sweet, sweet feeling of not crying when rent is due? Visual cues light up your brain's reward center. Put up a picture of your goal. Make a chart. Draw a treasure map with X marking emergency fund. Make it visual, make it fun, make it brain candy. Third, give your money a purpose. When your brain knows that your money is working for something, it gets way more cooperative. Instead of saying, I cannot spend this, say this is for my dream home, or my future business, or my anti-apocalypse fund. Reframe saving as empowerment, not deprivation. Your brain loves a good story, so tell it one where saving money is how you become a legend, not a miser who hoards pennies in jars labeled "Do not touch until the end of days." Now let us sprinkle in some actual research so this does not just sound like caffeine-fueled stand-up comedy. In a study from Stanford, researchers used fMRI scans to look at what happens in the brain when people are deciding to buy things. Guess what? When people saw a product they liked, the reward center in the brain lit up. When they saw the price, the insula lit up, which is associated with pain. If the pain outweighed the pleasure, they did not buy. So basically, your brain is like a cheap seesaw, pleasure versus pain. The trick is to either reduce the pain of saving or increase the pleasure of it. And here is where delayed gratification walks into the chat like a wise monk. In the famous marshmallow test, kids were given one marshmallow and told they could have two if they waited. The kids who waited? They grew up to have better life outcomes across the board. Why? Because delaying gratification is linked to stronger executive function, which is basically the CEO of your brain. And you want that CEO to be calm and strategic, not someone who maxes out your credit card because there was a sale on novelty toasters. So how do you turn down the volume on your spending brain and pump up the saving brain? Here are a few simple hacks. Use the 24-hour rule. If you want to buy something that is not a necessity, wait a full day. If you still want it tomorrow, fine. But chances are your dopamine fizz will have flattened like old soda and you will make a smarter choice. Second, automate your savings. Remove your emotional brain from the equation entirely. Have a set amount go into savings every time you get paid. If it happens without your decision-making, your brain cannot sabotage you with, "But what if we need 3 more throw pillows?" Third, avoid temptation zones. Yes, that includes your phone. Unsubscribe from those deals of the day emails. Delete the shopping apps. Avoid boredom scrolling. You are not weak. You are just being ambushed by brilliant psychology and an internet that knows your every desire. Create distance, and your brain will stop lighting up every time it sees a shiny button. Lastly, redefine wealth. Your brain often thinks wealth is about what you own, but real wealth is about what you keep. It is freedom, options, not having to cry when your car breaks down because you actually have a repair fund. It is the power to say yes to the things that matter and no to everything else. And when your brain starts realizing that savings are just future freedom in disguise, it starts to get excited in a whole new way. So here is the takeaway. Your brain is not broken, it is just a bit dramatic. Spending feels good because of instant dopamine, but it is a sugar high with a financial hangover. Saving is quieter, like a cup of herbal tea, but it builds actual long-term joy and security. The trick is to understand what your brain is doing and nudge it toward the better path using habits, visual cues, and some clever hacks. Train your brain like a financial ninja, and you can have the best of both worlds. Fun now and freedom later. And if this made you laugh, learn, or just think twice before buying another inflatable hot tub, hit that subscribe button like it owes you money, tap the bell like you are trying to wake up your brain's prefrontal cortex, and tell us in the comments, are you more of a spender or a saver? Or are you just here because someone told you this was therapy disguised as comedy? Either way, thanks for watching XQ, quick, funny explanations, where we make your brain smarter, one giggle at a time.